Hello, and welcome to another episode of my 30 plus decks. Today I'm going to be using one of the newer ones that I got this last year, and that is the Wise Mothman. This one's one of the Fallout Precon, so that one's one of the universes beyond, and honestly, I really enjoyed this one. As far as just looking at all of them, this one was the one that I wanted. I also ended up getting the Science Precon and really upgraded that one. This one's less upgraded, so it is close to how the original one ran. I really didn't see much ways to change it that I wanted to from the base deck. Besides, I want to say that one of the two decks came with an enchantment that was whenever you cast a spell, proliferate. And whichever deck that I was wanting it to be in, it actually ended up being in the other deck. And so I bought just an extra copy of it and put it in the deck that it was missing. I want to say that it was this deck that I thought that it was going to be in. Maybe that's where it actually was. I can't remember. I know that it was only within this last year, but still. I also have upgraded that other one, but I'll get to those changes when we get there. For the Wise Mothman, it's a 4-cost 3/3 flying. When it enters the battlefield or attacks, each player gets a rad counter. And in this deck, I'm trying to get a bunch of rad counters in addition to giving my opponents rad counters. Whenever one or more non-land cards are milled, I put a 1/1 counter on each of up to X target creatures, where X is the number of non-land cards milled this way. So if I have, let's say, 3 creatures, and I mill 5 cards, I only have 3 creatures, so I can't put 2 on one, 2 on another, and 1 on the third. It's only 1 creature on up to the 5 creatures, and I don't have 5 to put it on. It doesn't specify creatures I control, so I could put creatures or counters on creatures my opponents control, but there's really not much reason to do that. I guess for politics, except for politics. Just another thing. It is very heavy mutant and zombie themed, so those are just fun things in the deck. Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I did not get my hand ready this turn, and I do have cheapy sleeves, but I got them for Christmas, so something's better than nothing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's enough land. I think that I'll just run with that. That doesn't look bad at all, except that it's a whole lot of land. Let's go with this. Draw. But I'm okay with a lot of land because my commander is a 4-cost. Start off with a forest, tap, hardened scales. If one or more 1/1 counters would be put on a 1/1 creature, If one or more counters 1/1 counters would be put on a creature I control, that many +1 1/1 counters are put on it instead. Let's go to turn 2. Untap, upkeep, draw. That works. That changes this. So let's go with a swamp. Tapping 2 for a nuke launcher. Equipped creature gets +3/+0 and intimidate, so it can't be blocked except by artifact creatures or creatures that share a color with it. It has an equip cost for 3. And whenever the equipped creature attacks, until the end of turn, until the end of defending player's next turn, that player gets 2 rad counters whenever they cast a spell. So that's pretty sick. I have not gotten creatures yet, but it's only a matter of time. Turn 3, tap, upkeep, draw. Let's go. That actually works really nice. I will go with a Temple of Milady, and I will scry 1. I'm okay with that. I will go ahead and tap the other 2, and I will cast an Arcane Signet. Let's go to turn 4. Untap, upkeep, and draw. Now, right now, I'm probably going to get out the Wise Mothman, because I have 4, and since I don't have any 1 costs, I'm actually going to get out a tapped land. When it enters, I scry 1. I like that. Let's go ahead and tap green, black, blue, and 1 for the Wise Mothman. When he enters the battlefield, each player it's a rad counter. And the thing that I really can't track is if my opponents are milling lands or non-lands. And so if they get lands, then there's the Wise Mothman. If not, well, I mean, I could do it something where, like 50-50 with a d6. I could do it one, a third of the deck is supposed to be a land, so if I low roll, then that's a land. Otherwise, I get the counter. I think the 50-50 for practice is fair, so let's just roll like that. Which means for 1, 2, 3, I don't get the trigger. Pretty much I'm thinking radiation for my opponents. If they, I guess it's a little bit hard to track, isn't it? We'll just see how it goes for the first one. So that was 1. So 5 and 6, which means 2 of my opponents lost their radiation. I can get 2 counters on the Wise Mothman. We'll just say something like that. It's actually 4 because of hardened scales, which is dumb. Should I even do? That's kind of what it is. Right now it's already a 7/7 flying, and it's going to be turn 5. Untap, upkeep, draw. And I already knew what that was, and I really like it. I mean, I might as well, after I draw, I have to mill 1, Talisman of Curiosity, so I lose that radiation. I put another 2 counters on the Wise Mothman, and let's go like this. Mariposa military base. I may have it enter the battlefield tapped. I will. If I do, I get 2 rad counters, so there's that. Taps for a colorless, so I can tap 5 into it to draw a card. This ability costs 1 less for each rad counter I have. I will then tap this for a blue, this for a blue, and 1, 2, 3. And I will cast Inexorable Tide. So this is the one that I was mentioning. I was actually able to scry it and then draw it this turn. Whenever I cast a spell, proliferate. So right now that will be proliferating radiation counters. That will be proliferating 1/1 counters. And because of hardened scales, any proliferation of 1/1 counters will be 2 1/1 counters. So that's cool. Let's just put this equipment over here. Declaration of attack with the Wise Mothman. I will give everyone a rad counter. And that's a 9/9 flying at someone by turn 5. Now let's go around the table again. Everyone should just have that 1 rad counter. And I am rolling 3 dice just to see how that. It's another 1, 5, and a 6. Okay. Which would be another 2 instances, which would be another 4 counters. I don't even know if this is as far as statistics, I think that it's a smart enough way to go. And this actually is kind of how it's gone in the past. Sweet. That means that come my turn, which I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lands, so that will be turn 6. And those dice rolls are me passing the turn actually, so I should do that tick up beforehand. But let's go turn 6, untap. Upkeep, nothing. I draw. After I draw, that is radiation. So I mill Radstorm, Bloatfly Swarm, Radstorm, Bloatfly Swarm, okay, and an island. So I lose 2 of these. I do not have a second creature, so you are the only ones getting the counters. And then I have already drawn. Let's see. I have not played land, so let's go Woodland Cemetery. Does not enter tapped because I control a forest and a swamp. There we go. Now, let's... Ooh. Now, that's actually something. I don't want to cast a spell until my opponents have radiation. So let's do this. I will swing with the Wise Mothman. Each player gets a radiation counter, so I'm up to 2. My opponents should be at 1, except for one who had the land, so that one would be 2. Not like I'm keeping track. I'm only gonna... that would be rolling more dice. I really shouldn't keep track of it. I think that this next time I'm only gonna keep track of my mills. That'll make it easier for me, and then when it comes to an actual game, it's gonna look really strong. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's pretty much... I want to double cast, so let's go with a green and 2 for a glowing one. On cast, I proliferate because of Inexorable Tide, so that's 2 counters on the Wise Mothman and another radiation counter for everybody. And then a black and 2 for Feral Ghoul. That will be another proliferation on cast, so I'm up to 4. My opponents should be up to 3, except for one who is a 4. But after this game, I'm just going to stop keeping track. That's looking great for me. This glowing one is a 2/2 death touch. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, they get 4 rad counters. And whenever a player mills a non-land card, I gain 1 life. Now, one thing that I haven't been keeping track of is my life. I have technically lost 3 life from milling and radiation, and I'm not keeping track of that, so this isn't a life gain deck. And I don't think that I'm going to lose enough life to die, so I'm not worried about that in these test games. And then my Feral Ghoul is a 2/2 menace. Whenever another creature I control dies, I put a 1/1 counter on Feral Ghoul, and whenever he dies, each opponent gets a number of rad counters equal to its power, Feral Ghoul's power. It's currently a 2/2 zombie mutant, insect mutant. Like I was saying, each creature, for the most part in this deck, is either a zombie or a mutant. Let's go to that final turn. Yeah. There we go. We're in this rhythm now. Draw. Interesting. I think that after this draw, I'm going to mill 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 of those were lands, 2 of those were non-lands, which was a Guardian project, which is really nice, actually. So I lose 2 radiation. I put 1/1 counters on my commander. That will be up to 6, 12, 18 counters on you, and then the other 2 counters will be put on the Feral Ghoul to make that bigger and better when that happens. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's actually great. So I know what I'm gonna do, but just to no, I'll show my options later. Let's go green and 1 to cast Power Fist. Now, Power Fist is awesome. I really like this one from this. Equipped creature has trample, and whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, put that many 1/1 counters on it. So right now I cast that, and I proliferate because of Inexorable Tide. That's a 3rd radiation counter. That's another 2 counters on Wise Mothman, and another 2 counters on my Feral Ghoul. Then I will tap 2 and equip the Power Fist to my Wise Mothman. And then I will tap 1, 2, 3 from my Signet as the 3rd. Nuke and Nuke Launcher is equipped to this Wise Mothman, making it currently 6, 12, 18, 19, 20, 23. That's a 26, 23 flying trample commander with Intimidate, so it can't be blocked except by artifact creatures, black, green, or blue creatures. And that will be swinging at someone. If they do not have enough big flying blockers because it is trample flying, then they might just die. And that's however much damage being dealt. That many counters plus 1 are being put on it. Yeah, that's pretty much that turn. And in my hand was this Vault 12, the Necropolis. It was a 6 cost, so I could have cast that last turn instead of double casting. I could have done that this turn instead of what I did in equipping, but it starts off with each player getting 3 rad counters. Second one is making a bunch of mutants equal to the total number of rad counters among players, which is awesome. And then the final one, putting 2 1/1 counters on each creature I control that's a zombie or a mutant. I could have gotten at least that second one to go off, but still, I think that after this game, I'm just going to stop counting rad counters for everybody and just focus on me. Just to kind of know that in an actual game, it just goes better. I don't have any cards. Well, let's start with this. I've seen this deck used as far as just the Mothman in general, and I don't have some of those kind of what you'd think of as key cards. I don't have a Mesmeric Orb. I don't own one. Otherwise, it probably would be going into a deck like this. But honestly, I think that the deck just kind of does a good job, and I really like themed decks overall. Like, I think that I would prefer a themed deck over a generally powerful deck any day. And I really haven't gone into all of my themed decks yet, but man, it's like when they're trying to tell a story. I think that one of my favorites was the Edward Kenway one, because one of those ones I just started with a like treasure purse or whatever. It was the perfect way for a pirate to start. But no, this one's a great one with Fallout. I love how they did all of those cards, and I think that everyone who plays Magic and plays the game, they really would agree with me. And of course, the playmat to rep. As soon as I saw this playmat, I had to buy it. And then as soon as I went to buy it, they were sold out. And then I got a notification that they got them back in, and I bought them that second time. So that was just a couple months later. That was awesome. That was Card Kingdom. No. Ultra Pro. Ultra Pro. 1, 2, 3, 4, because Card Kingdom's cards. Ultra Pro's the Ultra Pro. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Is this any good? I got 2 lands. I don't actually like that hand because there's no blue lands, at least. Let's just shuffle real quick and try again. Alright. And as far as it goes, I have had a zombie deck that was not a commander, and it was blue-black. I guess I could take cards out of that one to make this one better. I have a which one is it? Rooftop Storm. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This one's much better. Oh yeah. I own a Rooftop Storm, and so I could put that in the deck as just a nice upgrade. And then that's a lot of cards in this deck that I could just cast for free. As soon as I get that 6 cost enchantment out. I think it's a 6 cost. It's either 5 or 6. Anyways, I like this hand. Let's go. Draw. Okay. As far as that goes, let's go like this. Evolving Wilds. I know what I like. Let's go with a Swamp. Come on, Swamp. Anywhere. Here we go. Swamp tapped. Turn 2. Tap up, you draw. And I think I'm gonna go Forest, tap green and black for a Winding Constrictor, 2/3 Snake, so it's one of the few cards that's not a mutant or a zombie. If one or more counters would be put on an artifact or creature I control, that many +1 of each of those kinds of counters are put on that permanent instead. So that could be 1/1 counters, that could be charge counters, that could be indestructible counters. It doesn't actually matter what kind of counters, it's just any counters put on artifacts or creatures I control, they get that many +1, which could be bad for -1/-1 counters. Anyways, if I would get one or more counters, I get that many +1 of each of those kind of counters instead. Now, that could be something like energy counters or poison counters, but this one, it's rad counters. We already know. Let's see. I'm going to go to turn 3. Untapping, upkeeping, and drawing. Okay. I don't have anything to play for 3, so let's go with a Tarmorphic Expanse and crack it. And I have an island in my hand. I think that I would like another forest. Alright. And that will be that turn, so I'll be going to turn 4, probably to cast my commander. And the Winding Constrictor only affects what goes onto my artifacts, creatures, or me. So, turn 4, untap, upkeep, draw. Let's put in this island, green, blue, black, and 1. For the Wise Mothman, everybody will get 1 except for me. I get 2 radiation counters. Okay. With this, I think I will pass. Going to untap, upkeep, nothing. I draw a card, and then pre-combat main phase, I mill 2. That'll be a land and 2 lands. Okay. Let's go with another swamp. And how would I like to do this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That could be good too. I think I would like this. Green and 2. For a Watchful Radstag. This one's a 2/2 with Evolve. Whenever it evolves, create a token that's a copy of it. So I do have other cards that benefit whenever they get counters. This one specifically has to evolve, so it's still pretty cool. Let's go to combat, and I will swing with my Mothman as a 3/3 flying on turn 5. I think that's alright. Everybody gets a rad counter except for me. I get 2. And I didn't track my opponent's mill, so this will be probably bigger in an actual game. Let's go to turn 6. Untap. Upkeep. Draw. And 1, 2, 3, 4. So that is 3 non-lands and 1 land. So I lose 3 radiation. And I put a 1/1 counter on each of up to 3 creatures, which because of my Winding Constrictor is now 2 1/1 counters on each of up to 3 creatures. That is not evolving, but that does affect that. So I don't think that I'm going to put those counters on the Watchful Radstag this time, because it's up to, and I will choose not to do that. And then I have already drawn. Let's go with this Darkwater Catacomb as my land for turn. And I think I will choose to play... Ooh, that's a pretty good one. Green, black, blue, and I guess I'll use the blue to tap this for blue-black. So, blue, black, green, and 1. For the Master Transcendent. This one was the backup commander. When it enters the battlefield, target player, which will be me, gets 2 rad counters, which will be 3 rad counters because of the Winding Constrictor. It has a tap ability, but it does have Summoning Sickness this turn to have target creature card put in a graveyard that was milled this turn onto the battlefield under my control. It becomes a 3/3 mutant, green mutant, and it entering is a 2/4, so the Watchful Radstag will see that. It will evolve, and because it evolves, let's see, do I have a copy of a Watchful Radstag? No, I have just got a copy. That's alright. Now, let's see. It's about to be turn 7. That's true. When it evolves, it gets a second counter. Yeah. Okay. I think that's good for this turn. Let's go to this final turn of this second game. Tapping. Upkeeping. Nothing. Draw. I like that. Another land. Hit every land drop. Which means I got 7 to work with right now. Except for the fact that I drew a card and I did not mill my 1, 2, 3, 4 non-land cards. So I am radiation free, but I lost Frank Horrigan, Strong, the Brutish Thespian, Farseek, and Inexorable Tide, which we had last game. So that will be 4 counters distributed, or a 1 counter distributed among 4 creatures. It's definitely going to be 1, 2, 3. And should I buff that Radstag? I'm not actually sure, because that could make 2 potentially. Right now, it's a 4/4. I have a 4/4 in my hand. I'm not sure. I don't think that I will. I think we'll keep it smaller. I have already drawn, so now let's go that land for turn. And here are my options, which I will playtest this deck a whole lot because of this reason. It's a little bit hard to test with all of this radiation and lack of triggers. Anyways, as this enters the battlefield, I choose Brotherhood or Enclave. There's a struggle for Project Purity. Brotherhood is at the beginning of my upkeep, which won't happen just because I'm at the end of this turn, or end of this showcase game. There we go. Brotherhood at the beginning of my upkeep, I draw. Each opponent draws a card, and I draw a card for each card drawn this way. That's typically what I would do. So that would be okay, upkeep. Each opponent draws a card, so I draw 3, and then I draw a card, so I'm drawing 4 per turn. That's awesome. And then Enclave, whenever a player attacks me with 1 or more creatures, that player gets twice that many rad counters. That's cool, but no, I'd prefer the draw. Nightkin Ambusher has a ward 2. It's a 4/4 for 4. And when it enters, target player gets 4 rad counters, so that could be me getting 5. Can't be blocked as long as defending player has a rad counter, so maybe it wouldn't be me. But because of Wise Mothman, it could just be swinging unblockable to anybody. Contaminated Drink. This one was one that I really thought about just to get a bunch of cards back. So draw X cards, then I get half X rad counters, rounded up. And Dig Up is one of the cards that I did switch out. I don't exactly remember which card that I would be searching for, which is one thing I was mentioning. I haven't tested this deck a bunch. So I'm thinking I might do Dig Up. That is casting it for its cleave cost. So that would be 1 black, black, and green. So 4. I search my library for a card. Just take out the bracketed words. Search my library for a card. And put it into my hand, then shuffle. So I can search for any card for 4. Or for just 1, that would be for a basic land and reveal it. Really don't even know what I would search for. So I think that I'm actually going to go just Contaminated Drink as much as I can. That would be blue, black, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Casting Contaminated Drink would be I draw 5 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then half of those rounded up. So 5 rounded up is 6. So I would be getting 3 rad counters. And looking at what I got, Lily Bowen, Raging Grandma. I can't cast anything because of what I just did. I can do Master Transcendent thinking about it, but I'll get to that in a second. Lily Bowen, Raging Grandma, enters with 2 1/1 counters. I know that I'm not zoomed in, but that's okay. At the beginning of my upkeep, double the number of 1/1 counters on her if power is less than 16. Otherwise, remove all but one 1/1 counter, then gain a life for each 1/1 counter removed this way. I have had this one go a little bit interesting, where I had a different creature buffing my mutants and zombies equal to the number of 1/1 counters on it, making her constantly power 16 or greater. And so every upkeep I was removing all the 1/1 counters and just gaining that much life, which typically wasn't much. It's supposed to be a bit different than that. Young Death Claws 4/2 Menace. Each creature in my graveyard has Scavenge equal to its mana cost, which is very interesting. Branching Evolution, which is awesome. Twice as many counters, which I could go Winding Stricter to go +1 and then ×2. Land for turn, which I already got those, so that's actually very cool as far as just cards that I drew into. Let's go tapping the Master Transcendent. And I think that it's Agent Frank Horrigan that I'd want to bring back. He brings him back as a green mutant with base power and toughness 3/3. So this would be a 3/3 trample, indestructible as long as it attacked, and when he enters or attacks, proliferate twice. So that's really cool. Or it could be Strong, which would be a 3/3 ward 2. Whenever he is dealt damage, I get 3 rad counters and put 3 1/1 counters on him. I gain life rather than losing life from radiation. I think Frank Horrigan is the one to choose. He is entering the battlefield as a 3/3 mutant. Yeah, put creature in a graveyard that was milled this turn on the battlefield under my control, 3/3 mutant. So he's a 3/3 trample, can't attack, but that's fine. 6, 7, 8 cards in my hand, so I would have to discard. And I'd probably just discard this island, because I have this Drownyard Temple. Sweet. That was interesting. That was very interesting. Let's... Oh, and at the same time, I didn't do it. You were there, you're here. Enters the battlefield, I proliferate twice. That's the one thing that I just want to do, which, for Radiation, it's easy. For Wise Mothman, the first instance is 2 counters. There's 2 counters. There's 2 counters. And then second one is 2 more counters, 2 more counters. Hold on. You were 2, you were at 4. So you should be at 6 and then 8, and then you should be, if I even want to. This Watchful Radstag really is a pain, isn't it? Thinking of that, oh my goodness, Agent Frank Horrigan makes this copy evolve, which makes another copy, which I use proxy cards. So, copy. And then he enters, and then I could proliferate, which I've already done that for the twice. I could do both of these for the twice, but is that even worth it? I think that I should just get them big. Proliferate twice, proliferate twice. There was probably also a counter on the Winding Stricter, which would have been 2, which would have been 4, and then 6. Something like that. I'm pretty sure that that's right, because the Wise Mothman had the counters before anything else. And if I'm wrong, that happens. It's right at the end of this test game, and I wouldn't have scooped it up otherwise. So let's scoop it up. Ha. Let's go. One more game. We're just over half an hour. Yeah. That's right where I've been. Here we go. I did have my first number of videos. They were uploaded with, what was it? It was like the age restriction for kids. And I didn't realize, because I'm still new to this, I didn't realize that that was turning off comments. And so the first, like, almost 15 of these videos, just comments are turned off. So I'm probably gonna, or these rest of these videos, they have comments turned on. I'd love to hear feedback, especially constructive criticism. I'm probably gonna start making a couple of shorts, and I'll mention that in there. And yeah, if you guys even made it this far. I'd love to hear about it, see what you're thinking. And I mean, I'll be honest, I'm not really looking for like deck advice because I watch these things all the time. I know that not all of my decks are the highest power that they could be, and I'm okay with that. I definitely would just, can you hear me all right? Do you see things all right? One of the things that I really had to change was zooming in. I was zooming in too much in my first videos, and I didn't realize until a bit later that every time that I zoomed in or zoomed out, it would cut off volume. And so you just wouldn't be able to hear me. And so I'm like, okay, this I need to do way less. So I'm learning as I go. And yeah, constructive criticism is awesome. Let's go 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. See if that works. That looks great. Oh yeah, that looks great. Let's see about yeah, turn 3 Mothman. Let's go. The rest of it might be a little bit slow, but no, that looks great. Okay, we're going. Draw. What a perfect draw. Oh my goodness. Forest. And that actually might change my turns. 2 is going to be Island. Tapping a green and blue. More green and 1 for Farseek. I don't know if I have any special lands or triomes. So let's check now, because this is why we go fish. There we go. Let's just stop there. Fetid Pools. Taps for blue or black. It is an island swamp. Enters tapped anyways. So pretty much with that, I could go my landfall for lander out for next turn and then cast the Wise Mothman. But I actually drew into something just a little bit better sequencing wise. So let's go to turn 3 of this final game. Untap, upkeep, draw. And let's go with this one. It's an easy choice. Tainted Isle as my land, taps for colorless, but since I control a swamp, it can tap for a blue or a black. So then let's go green and 3. Guardian Project. Whenever a non-token creature enters a battlefield under my control, if it doesn't have the same name as another creature I control, or a creature card in my graveyard, I draw a card. So since this commander, is singleton, most commanders are singleton. I know that there are exceptions, but Guardian Project is just a great card in any commander. And I milled it last game. Untap, upkeep, draw. I actually don't have a land, so if I do this, I'm hoping to draw a land. Green, black, blue, and 1. Wise Mothman. When it enters, each player gets a rad counter. And I draw a card because it entered. Sadly, no lands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cards in hand. That's alright by me. Untap for my turn 5. Hold on, that was my turn 5. No, that wasn't because of Farseek. I'm on the right track. I'm on the right base. Untap, upkeep, draw. Land draw. Now I'm more on pace. I guess that Farseek did put me ahead. So I'm right on pace. Let's see. After I draw, I guess before I play that land, Mirelurk Queen gets milled. It's a counter on the Wise Mothman. Let's see about what I could do. Very cool. Very cool. That is... I guess it's interesting. I have this Lumbering Mega Sloth. I'm not going to be able to play it this turn, but it costs 1 less for each counter among players and permanents. And I do have ways to put counters on things. Counter among permanents. It's so interesting. So let's start off with... Yeah, let's just go like that. Tap in black and 3. Bloatfly Swarm. Enters with 5 1/1 counters on. And when he enters, I draw a card because of Guardian Project. And if damage would be dealt to him while he has a 1/1 counter on it, prevent that damage, remove that many 1/1 counters from it, then give each player a rad counter for each 1/1 counter removed this way. So hopefully he doesn't die and Wise Mothman would buff him back up. But truth be told, I'm playing uncontested, so he's going to keep those counters. Let's swing with the Wise Mothman as a 4/4 flying on turn 5. Everybody gets a rad counter, and that's that. Turn 6. Untap. Upkeep. Draw. Dang. No lands. I could do this. 1 mill. Of course it's a land. That's fine. I technically have 1 or 5, 6, 7 counters on things. I could go with Harmonize, trying to draw a land, and if I draw a land, then I can play another card. That would be this. Drawing. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 7, 8, 9, 10. 9, 8. So I'd still have to discard a card if I had to. That's not the worst thing in the world. Let's go ahead and do it. Green, green, and 2. For Harmonize. I draw 3 cards. 1, 2, 3. Good. I drew a land. So let's go that land. Enters tapped, of course it does. So I actually can't do what I was hoping to do. Let's see. That sucks. And maybe it's the reason that I haven't really changed this deck up much is I haven't played it enough because it's a little bit hard to play test, but it's such a fun deck. I enjoy it. I think I'm going to discard this one, which I was planning on playing, Contagion Clasp. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Which other one would I like to discard? It's almost the end of this test game. I think that I will probably discard the Lumbering Megasloth because it's just a big guy. Well, it's a big guy for 2, I guess. This Vaultborn Necropolis isn't bad. It really would help with getting that guy out for free, sure. I don't know. I guess I'm just talking to myself at this point. Let's go ahead and discard. Yeah. Let's just discard the Lumbering Megasloth. Besides just being a big trample guy, it even enters tapped, so no, he's just gonna be that easy discard for the turn along with his Contagion Clasp. And we'll move to the final turn of the game. Woo! No, we won't. Let's swing first so that we get another rad counter, at least. One more rad counter. Even though swinging in with a 4/4 flying on turn 6 can be risky. So let's just go to turn 7. And it's a test game. Tap, upkeep, draw. Talisman of Resilience. Interesting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Probably not gonna draw into another land. So Corpsejack Menace and a land. The Corpsejack Menace will put the counter on the Wise Mothman. Dang. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6. Dang. Yeah. This one just a little bit shy on how much land I could get out. I could do something like Talisman of Resilience into Power Fist or into Raoul or something like that. Now this deck is maybe needs a little bit of fine tuning, but man, it's such a fun theme. I can never deny that. Got another Contaminated Drink, Ancient Frank Horror again, Alpha Deathclaw this time, so that one I actually could have cast When it enters or becomes monstrous, destroy target permanent. Vault 12 came back. Raoul is actually, if I played Raoul, I would cast Raoul. Once each of my turns, I can cast a spell from among cards that were milled this turn. Oh, that doesn't quite work. Because it's cast a spell. I can't play lands from graveyard. That would be cool if I could play lands from graveyard. Inspiring Call, I could have discarded. Inspiring Call, I could even play just to draw a card for each creature I control with a 1/1 counter on it. But, let's just say I have options. And not enough land to do a bunch of them. So, yeah, that was an interesting little playtest for the Wise Mothman. I think that some of those games definitely went better than others. As far as cards that I don't know, really like, I really like the ones that just synchronize all of my mutants and zombies. I think that those ones are just fun. If I had to choose maybe a card to take out, I know that Lumbering Megasloth is cool. I think that that one might honestly be one that I would take out. It's a 12 cost, that could be a 2 cost. It's an 8/8 trample, but it enters tapped no matter what. So it's entering tapped. That really is it. It's slow. It's a sloth. It's a gimmick. I get it. I actually didn't play whichever game this one would have been in. I can only imagine that this is in a game, because otherwise why would they make the card? I haven't actually seen it in game. Mire Alert Queen, I was a little bit irked to mill. That one would have been cool. Has an ability whenever one or more non-land cards are milled, I draw a card. So anybody milling non-land cards, I draw cards, and then I put a 1/1 counter on her. Only once each turn, but I mean, it's awesome. It's great. It happens. Anyways, hope you enjoyed. Hope you stuck around. I know that this one wasn't a super upgraded Precon, but man, this next one, I hope you enjoy it. It will be Satya from Modern Horizons 3 piloting the science deck from Fallout. So it really is fun. I've made a lot of changes, and hope to see you there. Bye.